Hello and welcome to Peers and Soaps. I'm Eric, joined once again with Karen,
Yeah.
bringing you some more General Hospital 1982. Tommy will roll the credits and we'll chat. So before we get into February, we're going to rest in peace Denise Alexander, the great Leslie Weber. We lost her. Me and Karen thought she was going to come back to the show, and then we were just sadly disappointed to see that she actually died.
We both were so upset because it was just I don't know, the way that the way we found out about it, we were just like, "Oh, she's going to come back for another stint," and then it was the horror that she had passed.
Yes, the soap opera group, like the messenger group that we are part of, like messages usually like when people are coming and going, and of course deaths too. But I just didn't even think, oh, she could die. I mean, I just didn't. So I was just when I clicked, I was like, what? So sadly, yes, she was 85 years old and she had a hell of a career. She was part of obviously the super couple of Rick and herself, and I think there was a super couple in Another World she was a part of. As soon as she left G8, she got a part of that, and that was a big couple apparently on Another World. So she was always big, and she was really close friends with Julie Hayes from Days of Our Lives, because she had started on Days of Our Lives. So yes, she had a great career. We'll miss her. I think she was last seen in GH a few years ago, right? I think she came
Yeah,
back.
she was on with Laura, so she was on with Jeannie Francis. It was really cool that when Jeannie Francis returned to General Hospital, they, went out of their way to just keep bringing Leslie back just for a minute here and there, and it really kept that kind of like that cool relationship she has with Monica, which is like frenemies, and I just really love them
And they
on
brought her
screen
back
together.
to life in the primetime special in the 90s, right? That's when she came back to life.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know how on. I think she was just recurring when she did come back that time, but I think she was on a while.
She would just come for stints. Like she would be there for like a month or two, and then that would be it. She was on for a long time when Laura came out of the coma. She was on for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Always very funny. Her comedic timing is incredible. You see that all the time when we're watching in '82. That she's just hilarious.
Yeah, so we watched 82 and 83. We're like toward the end of 83 as well. And I think my favorite stuff is always her family moments because she's always yelling at them to clean it.
Yeah.
Um, they're just a bunch of hoodlums, basically. Like that they just are a
She's
mess.
just this woman who has so much going on in her life. Like her husband's also a doctor, so they're both very important doctors at General Hospital. And yet it seems like everything in the entire family falls on Leslie's shoulder and shoulders, and they're all like crazy garbage trash panda people at her house. It's
But
terrible.
but I mean, they kind of brought it on themselves. I mean, they adopted Mikey. They basically adopted Blackie, who's also a teen,
And they
and then
just took in Amy.
they already have Amy. So, and it's just a bunch of them just are a mess of people, and
Well,
it's
Amy came with Laura, and then Mikey came with Rick because Leslie and Rick had gotten divorced and got back together, and he had been taking care of Rick, whose grandmother had cancer and died, and whose mother was missing.
yeah.
So that ended up with two of them, and then I think we're getting into it in '82 now, where they just decide they're going to adopt Blackie as well. And the house just get fuller and fuller. And they had a full-time housekeeper for a long time. That was Alice.
Yeah, they didn't take Blackie on in 82 yet, but in
Not
83
yet.
they
Soon.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
he's moving in pretty soon because they're family. By the time you get to '83, like he's just another son that lives at the house.
And sadly, we did not have that much Leslie this time. They're just included with the sports center and working on that, so they don't really do too much right at this point.
Yeah, the Sports Center isn't my favorite storyline. When we get into it, we'll talk about that. But she's very involved with the clinic. General Hospital at this point in time has a clinic where everybody goes to for the us, Eric, for the poor people. So we go to the clinic in what would be the neighborhood that Mary May Ward lives in later on when we get back to that neighborhood. Michael tries to gentrify it at one point. Like this is a neighborhood that is just like kind of like near the docks where all the blue collar workers live in Port Charles, because nobody in the regular show has a regular job except Elizabeth.
Where Laura disappeared.
Yeah, it's right by the pier where Laura disappeared, down the street from at this point in time Kelly's.
Yeah, and it focuses mainly on the chase for Laura, which is getting on my nerves. I'm like, it's very repetitive. I'm like, we just went through this 2 weeks ago. Like, come on.
It wasn't a very balanced week. I'll say that for it. It was mostly the storyline hunting for Jackie's sister Laura, in the hopes that this will lead to Laura Spencer. But it just doesn't seem like that's even really connected anymore. It's just kind of farcical this week. Like, it's weird.
I feel like they didn't know what to do. Like, I just felt like that's what it
Yeah,
feels like.
it does feel like they didn't know what to do.
Was there a writer's strike in '82? Like, I wonder.
If
like,
you know, please comment down below, because I'm not doing that deep of a dive on Google today.
there may have been, and it might have affected this.
It was so funny because I keep mentioning to you, like, in the future, if you're watching General Hospital currently, I don't like the character of Vaughn because I feel like he says the same 5 lines over and over again. And like now I kind of feel like Laura and the photographer's conversations are the same conversation every single time you see them. And also
David Gray.
David Gray says no one can know the whole plan like 400 times this week.
And we don't know the plan.
We don't know the plan.
Nobody does except
David
for him.
won't tell us. He's the only one who knows the plan. And he's just walking around town, and he's just like, you can't all know what's happening because we're all in sleeper cells doing sleeper cell stuff. And they're all like, yeah, but what am I supposed to do today? And he's like, you don't need to worry about that because you don't need to know the plan. And the guy's like, yeah, but I need to know the plan to do something. And
I wonder if we would have met him back then and been like, do you know what your storyline is? I'd be like, no, I have a plan and I don't know what it is.
If I were him, I would have said the exact same thing he says in the show. I'd be like, listen, only one person can know the entire plan, and that's me. And then I would have been like, and I don't know the plan. They haven't written it yet.
So we're covering February 24th to March 2nd. So Maureen, we hardly knew you, but she's going back to New Hampshire.
Remember, you were like, why don't you remember Maureen? This is why. She was on for like 2 weeks. She's gone.
Still didn't remember her name until somebody said it, and I was like, right, Maureen, right. So yes, she basically came on to introduce Johnny. Apparently Joe is friends with Johnny. Everybody's friends with this Johnny, who we never met until now, but whatever.
He's from the neighborhood. He was going to be a Golden Glove boxer. I don't care.
Yeah, I get it. I'm the same. Laura and Mel talk about the antique shop, the new antique shop, whatever. Same story. It's the same stuff.
She just keeps trying to say she's not a kleptomaniac and she's not going to go to the store and steal stuff, but she wants to.
Tiffany, Jackie, Robert, bait Laura. Again, same storyline.
Exact same plot. They're like, it didn't work the last time. It'll work this time. I put an ad in the paper. Let's go.
But this time we're going to be all spread out like we were last time. Well, I don't know. They do the same exact thing. It's annoying. Lila and Stella are on. They come by. She found the pic of, what's his name?
Jimmy Lee Holt.
Jimmy Lee, yes. Of course, we don't see the picture. He's probably
I don't think that's what his name was originally, though. It's something else. I forget. It's like a much more posh name.
I wonder why.
Because he like moved around. He was like in one family and then moved to another family, and he ended up being Jimmy Lee.
Johnny is looking for a dude to be his trainer. This Packy man who we know from when Packy. I feel like even when we started watching in '83, somebody was still looking for Packy. Packy was like on the run. Like somebody's always looking for Packy. I guess he just like bails. I don't know what his story.
Yeah, and Packy's in New York in a crap hole apartment, and everyone's saying that Packy's a loser, and Johnny doesn't think so.
You know what? This storyline is seriously like Rocky.
Yeah.
Because like Rocky was like Burgess Meredith, the Penguin, was training Sylvester Stallone, and I'm like, this is Rocky, but in soaps. Really weird. But anyway, Leslie and Rick are on, so yay, Leslie. But they're going to the sports center, so they don't really do anything.
I hate the sports center. I do.
They talk about doing bargain shops and stuff. Amy has ideas for the sports center. So she's trying to get involved as well, which is when she'll probably get involved with Johnny, which she isn't quite yet.
But she does think he's cute.
Audrey wants Steve involved. It was nice to see them on.
Yeah.
David Gray, of course, pops up at Laura's doing the same shit. I have a plan. I won't tell you anything. Nobody knows the plan. Blah,
Doesn't
blah,
he
blah.
threaten Laura because she's not supposed to remember anything, and then she does? And he's just like, why does she remember? And Mel's like, I don't know. You wiped her memory. She didn't know anything. And then one day she did because he
Somebody
accidentally said the trigger words
said
for
the trick
the
word.
hypnotism.
Emma and Blackie are at the sports center. Scotty goes to help. Johnny finds Packy. And the store sells those little ivory animals. Like, remember that didn't Tiffany and Robert sell them the animals or something to sell?
So
To
they
bake.
went to the fence that they all know, Benny, I think his name is, and they borrowed a bunch of ivory animals, which they then consign shopped through Luke and his crazy persona. These personas they do are ridiculous. And he put them there and as like a lure for Laura at the consignment shop.
They were at the other store, like what that was like a J.C. Penney, but this store they're actually not. So whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's weird. It really feels like there's a writer's strike and they don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah, because their plan is that Tiffany and Robert will dress up like frumpy people and go in there with weird accents and pretend to be foreign buyers.
I didn't even know what accent Tiffany was doing. I'm like, whatever it isn't good. I think it might
She
have.
said she was doing an Australian one, and Robert said that was the worst Australian accent he had ever heard. And Jackie said, that's what you sound like. It was very funny.
Yeah, they were definitely the highlight. Tiffany was anyway.
Yeah,
for
Tiffany.
Me.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're at the antique store to see David Gray. Jackie's wearing. Oh, she was wearing my blanket that you made me. Did you know?
Yeah. It did look very like the blanket I made you.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, Jackie's wearing my blanket.
They must have stolen it from Edge of Night.
Laura and Mel talk about David's caper, blah blah blah, same shit. Did you catch Daniel Green? Who played Felix? Daniel Green was Emma's love interest in season 5 of Falcon Crest. What the hell was his name on there? Dwayne.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, well, he's Felix. He's in Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark. He's in a ton of different movies and stuff.
You know what was so distracting during this week was that I realized that David Gray talks exactly like Adam from Dynasty, and it was so distracting. Like the cadence of how he speaks sounds just like how Adam does. And I was like, this is weird. And I guess that's like a stage accent, but it was just the cadence of how he talks and all reminded me too much of Adam.
But it was cool because I thought that was Daniel Green, and I'm like, that looks like him. And then I looked him up, and yep, he was in General Hospital 1983 or 82. So, and then they're a very side storyline. I mean, they're supposed to be a part of the caper, but they don't know what part of the plan because David doesn't tell anybody.
Not everyone can know the whole plan.
Not even he knows.
No one knows.
Jackie is worried that the Laura trap won't work. Gray and what is her name? I forget the name. Hester, I think her name was. Laura,
the lady that works at the frumpy lady at the consignment shop.
They're talking about the caper that nobody knows about. The little tiger piece is ready. Tiffany and Robert surround the store.
They put Tiffany in an alley with garbage and homeless people and left her there.
And forgot about her. So yeah, antique store shit's going down. Someone steals the lion, tiger, whatever. The chase for
the sleight of hand guy comes in and he's wearing a glove so he can touch the tiger, and he requests to touch the tiger. And I think at that point, Mel was supposed to do something with lenses that would blind people so they could swap out the tiger or whatever, but it overloads the power and it shuts off. So that guy literally is standing there with the tiger in his hand for like half the show, and they're like, the other guy's like, sir, you have to put the tiger back. And I'm like, what the hell is happening?
So weird. So yeah, The chase is on. Laura runs away. Luke gets on this car. He almost gets run over. Shit's going down. Jackie steals a bike. Tiffany is waiting in an alleyway, not being wasted, I guess. Luke takes a horse. Like, what is happening?
Takes the
So,
horse.
whatever. This is so bizarre. Scotty and Rose are on. They talk about Luke and Laura. He says he loved Laura. Of course, he wants her found. If he knew where she was, he would help. Whatever. Rick gets on Scotty as well. Mel yells at Laura again. Same storyline. David's mad. Same stuff. It's so annoying. Don't mess up the test again. He threatens them. He did the same thing before.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is. It's the same stuff. Like, I'm like, this is literally the same story you had 2 weeks ago.
Exact same caper that we already watched.
Are we supposed to forget this
I
soon?
don't know. It just seemed weird, like, right? Because Laura gets away like she did the last time. Even with the car, horse, people on skates, I don't know, all kinds of crap. And like she gets away again. Like, how is she getting away? Like, most of the time she's wearing heels and she's a tiny blonde woman. How fast can she go? Does she have magical abilities? Like, what is she doing? And then this whole thing, and like they do for comedic effect, like you said, they left Tiffany in the alley. Tiffany's in the alley. A homeless woman pushes a cart in and starts harassing her and giving her a hard time. She's cold, she's miserable, and they won't let her leave the alley. And like because of the like, she turns around. They come out through that door because obviously you have to do that for fun,
Right?
and it's just like this plan sucks. This plan sucked. It sucked the last time. It sucks now.
It doesn't work this time. Like, what? I don't understand why David wouldn't be like, just meet up with your sister and act like everything's noral. Because I feel like
a month ago, she had just called Jackie, met her at a cafe for lunch, and been like, "Oh, I'm here with my boyfriend. We're just hanging out."
Yes,
The photographer Mel I told you about, and then like be like, "Why were you being so mysterious and all this crazy? I came all the way down here from New York." She'd be like, "Oh my god, that's so sad. My phone wasn't working."
I can see why people are upset with the storyline. It was intriguing at first, like the month of January, and then it just got worse.
The one big thing is like this kleptomania thing with the little tiny animals, which could be cool. Except it seems like because we watch later on, like it just goes away. Like she just has this crazy addiction, that is storyline dictated for reasons, and then all of a sudden she never mentions it ever again. And it's like you can't give her this fatal flaw that she can never resist stealing, like the rose tea animals from stores, and like then it just goes away. So like, what is the point? What's happening?
So weird.
By the way, look up rose tea animals. They're adorable.
They are. I wonder if my dad still has his. I gotta look
I
them
had
up.
the seal. I had the hippo.
My dad had them all. We had them all.
They're so cute.
We had them all displayed in our kitchen. So Jackie saw Mel pulling Laura away, so she thinks she's being like forced into doing things.
They're all making this worse. Jackie's never going to let this go now.
David and Felix discuss their plan.
He just says the same thing. You can't know. And the guy's like,
I don't think the writers even knew that.
But he's like, you exposed me. People saw my face with that tiger. Like, I'm no longer effective in this scenario. And David's like, well, we don't really need you anymore.
Right. And
so this dry run went to shit. And now what are we going to do? What are we doing?
And David says it's going to be the crime of the century. And I'm like, what is it? What is the crime? What is it?
So are they really trying to steal this tiger with the emerald eyes? Because it looks like like a crappy clay statue with like sequins for eyes. I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
Whatever. So we move along. Heather and Scotty are on. At least something a little interesting was going on. She's saying how she changed, and he's like, no, we're the same. And she gets annoyed at him.
He's like, you can't change. We're awesome. Why would you change? You're just like me. Be like me. It's fun.
And she's trying to change for Joe, but she's really not because she's doing shady.
Trying to give the appearance of change for Joe. Like she wants to look good on the outside, but on the inside, she's still the crazy person that she's always been.
She likes Joe
I like Joe too, but you can't live up to their expectations.
Robert gets Tiffany from the alley. She flips out because he forgot her. She pushes him into the boxes. I'm like, good for you, girl.
Yeah, but he literally left the area with Jackie and
They
went
went
to
to
lunch. And in the middle of lunch, Jackie said something that reminded him that he left Tiffany in an alley. And if she doesn't tell him to go kick rocks, she
Yeah,
needs a shrink for her self-esteem because come on.
yeah, she definitely is going to.
When she shoved him, he totally deserved it.
Scotty and Gail talk. He kind of compliments her, like he's like, "Oh, you're good with my dad and all this stuff." And she talks about Lee's dream with him, like, is to be partners with her son and stuff like that. So she's just trying to get through to him. At least
He's
they're
also,
getting along this week.
I don't know. I think he is obviously, I think he likes Gail. There's no doubt in my mind that he loves his parents, including his stepmother. Like he loves them, but he just doesn't feel like they understand him. And I think that's true. I don't think they understand him.
Well, it's not only that, but he does do shitty things to hurt Lee, and Gail does not like that because that's her
But he
man.
does those things to hurt Lee because of the relationship between him and Lee, which in his mind probably has nothing to do with the relationship between her and Lee. And also, we forget that Lee was a mean drunk for a long time. So I don't know how that affects. I'm a Scotty apologist, you can tell. But like, I just sometimes I hate the way they treat him in town. Like they treat him like he murdered a bunch of puppies every time he's on screen, and like a lot of this stems back to him losing out with Laura, but like that whole storyline is messed up entirely. I don't know. And him ripping up the negligee, that was bizarre.
He's not a good person.
Not a bad person either. He's just a person.
He's a bad person. He
They're all
ran
bad people. I've been watching this show for a long time. They're not good people. None of these people. Maybe Gail.
Yeah, Gail and Audrey, I would say too,
Yeah. Audrey's a great person.
and Steve.
Yeah.
Um. Anyway, Laura does worry that Jackie could be in danger. Obviously, I mean, though nobody knows what's happening, so like it's a storyline where we don't know what's happening, they don't know what's happening.
Why I don't understand why he's so upset that Laura knows anything, because knowing anything is knowing nothing because no one knows anything. So why she can't be a threat to your plan? She doesn't know what your plan is. She knows one teeny tiny piece, and she doesn't even understand that because Mel thinks she's stupid and never explains anything to her. So what she does know is that they have a plan and that they planned it. She does not know anything. How is she a threat?
Finally, in the March 2nd episode, we got some different storylines, so I was happy. That I know it got a little more interesting. So I guess we missed something when Anne and Noah might have possibly going to sleep together. So she's kind of giving him the cold shoulder, and he's like, "What's wrong with you? I thought we were friends." And she's like, "Well, you couldn't make love to me the other day." So I guess they had something happening.
Yeah, and he tries to give the basically the idea that there's different kinds of love, and he's trying to tell her like we're just friends. And now that they like Anne started sleeping with people, she's like at the level of a 16-year-old girl where she just thinks everybody should sleep with her because she likes them. Like she's going a little boy crazy, and now he's like, we don't have that kind of relationship. We're just friends, and she gets very mad about it.
But I would have liked to have seen how it played out, because sometimes he can like come on.
Oh, he's the worst with women. He's the worst.
I feel like he could have led her on, and that's what maybe led to that. So
yeah, because in the future we would have called him like an F boy. We would never have considered him boyfriend material. He just sleeps with everyone.
I think she had mentioned that they were doing dinner at his place too, so maybe that's why she got it in her head, and that would
because he made it feel like a date, and then she got there and it wasn't a date because I don't know. He's not a good communicator. I love you, Rick Springfield, but you're a terrible communicator as Noah.
Richard Simmons is on. It looks like he wants everybody to do his class. Jesse likes doing his class, so that's nice. I like seeing Richard on. How about Monique? Monique gets flowers. This is Monica Quartermain.
This was my favorite part of the week because I love Alan Monica.
And I love Edward, and he kills me.
Edward just keeps complaining because bouquets keep showing up for Monica, but they're addressed to Monique, and they're all from France. And like he's like, I'm allergic to flowers, so they keep handing him these big, beautiful floral arrangements, and he's like sneezing and getting angry, and he's like, "It's like a funeral in here."
He's getting notes, just getting more flowers. Just keep
Yeah.
coming. And she gets home. He's like, "Oh, Monique, you're here." So yeah, Edward's all mad. She says it's a French friend that sends them to send it. I think she did it. I don't think there's. I think she did it.
Yeah, it's not beyond what she would do to make them all go crazy because she loves messing with them, which is why she's the perfect Quartermain wife, to be honest.
Yeah, Alan asks why she's getting flowers. He's like, "Oh, it's just a French friend of mine." But yeah, she was pretty funny, and I think and everybody's going to the floating rib. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess the next episode, everybody
will be at the restaurant. I love when they do that and all the storylines kind of overlap. It's fun.
I liked it too because I feel like they did that on every show back then. Now it doesn't happen too often.
I wish it did.
I guess because they did it on As the World Turns a lot too. Like there's one place they all go to, Lisa's place, and
they're doing it a little bit right now with the Port Charles Grill. Like everybody seems to be at the Port Charles Grill at the moment. But it's like their storylines aren't overlapping when they're there, though, which is not as much fun.
Right. That kind of happens too in As the World Turns, where they go and it's different storylines. But I mean, they do interact a little.
When does Alan have this conversation with Susan? Because she gets all nosy about his health.
Yeah. So Susan goes to see Mr. Angelino.
Dr. Katz, for those of you who are keeping track.
Alan. If you don't know Three's Company, people, then you're just sick. But yeah, she goes and she talks to him about Alan. She thinks he's going to give her information because he goes to see Mr. Angelino as well. And he gets pissed off because she's seeing him. She's like, why would you see him? Like, what? She's like, because I just want to talk to him. And whatever. He's being ridiculous. She's being ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing. He can't get it up for her.
Right.
Like he's, and I know why. Because he's bored. And all she does is kind of like, she's not fun anymore. That's why he started this affair. He wanted to have some fun with a girl who wasn't as whip smart as Monica. And Susan's a nice, normal girl, but she's no match for Monica.
And she's not a...
Yeah. And so she is going around town trying to get information on what's wrong with Alan because she thinks he might have a medical problem because he can't get it up for her. And she's asking doctors for information. She's asking his psychiatrist for information. She's being incredibly invasive. And he gets angry because he goes to the fitness class and he's still in his, he's not even dressed for fitness. He goes in there and he kind of confronts Dr. Katz in Richard Simmons' workout class. Like, how dare you? And he's like, what did you tell her? And he's like, well, not that I hate you interrupting this class because I love that, but I didn't tell her anything because I'm a professional. I told her nothing. And then they arranged to have a meeting to talk about it, and it does not go well.
Right.
And then he starts hanging around the Quartermain mansion because he misses his house and his wife and his family.
And that's when he does see Monica at the end.
And then she's getting tons and tons of flowers, and he is jealous, and I love it.
I don't know exactly what Joe was upset about, but he's like, him and Heather seem to have problems. Heather didn't think
because of Heather's trip. Remember, Heather went to meet with that doctor, but Scotty drove her out there.
He drove her out there.
That's why he has a problem with it.
Right.
She's also lying to him about what that was and what happened. Because that's what she does. She's investigating Dr. Katz. I'm not really sure why. I think we missed that, but she went out there to try and find out if he's a shady doctor. And she didn't get any information, and it feels really weird, like that storyline's in a little bit of limbo right now.
Right, and is that the one where she makes a call at the end? Heather makes a call to somebody after she talks to Joe, and I don't think we know who that is.
No, but I know it's probably part of it because she's been going through his CV and calling all his old jobs and finding out if he worked there when he said he worked there and if anything was going on. And at the one job, there was a suggestion of impropriety because there was that girl. So maybe she's trying to find that girl to find out what happened.
Oh yeah, is that Cynthia Elliott?
I don't know.
They mentioned a Cynthia Elliott, and I was like, "Who's that?" And,
It might be it. It might be the girl because apparently some doctor had an affair with the girl, and it's not clear if it was Dr. Katz or one of the other people at the practice, but either he knew about it or was involved in some way, and that's why he left that position.
right, and
And
something's
that
going.
other doctor was really forward with Dr. Katz's information, which leads me to believe he was probably the inappropriate doctor, and he's trying to dump that on Dr. Katz.
Yeah, and something's going on with Rudy too, because Rudy and his wife fight. His daughter's getting married, and she wants all kinds of money, and Rudy's the one he's like stressed out.
They're
But he was.
killing him. Like Dr. Bradshaw is like crumbling under the pressure of everything. People keep suggesting that he takes time off and he lightens his schedule, and then he gets that phone call, which he then takes a little further away. He's like, I'll take it over here. But he's not far enough away for the people at the desk not to hear that entire conversation. It's a good thing it was Jesse, because Jesse's not paying attention to other people's conversations. But like
Right.
he was on the phone going, I don't have that money. I don't know what you want from me.
I wish they would have kept him on because I feel like he's a pretty interesting character. I feel like
I like him a lot.
they could rehabbed I feel like they could have had like a whole good story with him being a part of the staff and stuff.
I would have liked to have seen the pressure get to him so much that he messed up in a few more surgeries.
But
And then either he started drinking or doing drugs, and then they could have done a storyline on too much pressure and how it can break a person, and then maybe bring on his family. Like it could have been so much more. I would have much rather watched that than watch them run around after the tiger for like 4 days.
run around after Laura forever.
I'm getting now why people hate her, because this storyline is stupid.
Yeah,
It's going to prejudice the audience against her, which is unfair to the actress. She's doing a great job with the garbage she's been given. No
it's
offense.
started out strong because remember we were all very into it in the beginning because we're like, what is the mystery? What is these three Lauras? Like, what do they have in
Pacing is
common?
everything. Pacing is everything. But now they seem to have dropped the three Laura's angle. They
Right.
dropped that one girl with she just got surgery and went home, and then we never heard from her again. So unless they come back around and tell us what was going on, like this just feels like a big bloated waste of time.
And then our Laura, I guess, just got kidnapped. I mean,
It was funny too, because early on they did reference the idea that she may have been kidnapped by the Cassidines, and this storyline distracted them from that so much that they never explore that angle until we find out 30 years later that she was in fact kidnapped by the Cassidines.
right. Spoiler alert. Okay.
For the 90s.
Yeah.
Well,
So
later in the 80s, too.
I was glad the last episode had more interesting things because I was just running around. I honestly was falling asleep when they were running around. I'm like, this is so annoying and boring.
I didn't even remember him stealing the horse because I was so bored by that point of them it was just too much. And like you said, the best part of that was Tiffany. Tiffany was the best of all of that.
I just thought it was hysterical because I'm like, Jackie's stealing a bike from somebody. He's stealing a horse. I'm like, this is just out of control. Like, it's just like they're just throwing stupid shit to distract the audience from stupidity. I'm like,
Yeah.
Whatever. It was just so silly.
I do like we're getting more of Monica and Alan. That was the more interesting storyline for the week.
Yeah.
And we're building up Johnny, even though it's not a storyline that I feel like I'm going to care too much about. They are working hard to make us like him.
I will though, because I'm excited to see Amy have a love interest, and I'm excited to see kind of that story arc for that.
I adore Amy. I get so mad when they correct her all the time and tell her to shut up because, like, she's only slightly more gossipy than the rest of them hoes, to be honest.
Very true. But Amy's just great.
I love her.
So yeah, I was excited to see that there was other storylines in the last episode.
It was unbalanced. Normally it's like an A-B storyline type of deal, and we got all of storyline A, and then it was like almost Thursday before they were like, oh yeah, by the way, we do have other storylines.
Yeah.
For 5 minutes. Now back to the weirdness.
I know. I'm excited to watch more, but I'm nervous. I'm hesitant.
Also, let's just reference very quickly that they are now in trouble with the fence because those animals that they were borrowing were sold at consignment. So now Luke's going to have to deal with that later on. I hope that comes back.
Yeah, hopefully we have it.
They may never talk about it again. Only people like me pay attention to stupid details like that.
Yeah, I don't. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So we're in March. That was March 2nd. So we have a lot more to go. Till these storylines end. And I wonder if they do anything for their anniversary back then. Because wouldn't they be
Depends on how
celebrating?
many years. What? How many years was it at that point? 20 something.
It started in 65 or 63.
63.
So 63 to 83, 20 years. By 82. So it would have been 19 years at that point.
I don't know. I don't know if they start doing that because, like, you know how soaps are. Like they're supposed to be on forever.
But now I feel like they always recognize it, which is good because I feel like they should. I mean, it's like, especially now with Pete Cancel, there's 5 soaps
It's
left.
over 60 years of General Hospital. I think every year they should have one episode that is 100% in the hospital, no
Right.
other scenes, just at the hospital, and like make them walk past that wall of all the doctors and reference some of the older doctors. Every time I want to hear about Tony, I want to hear about Steve, I want to hear about Audrey. I want to hear about these characters. Like there could be something like Audrey is, according to the timeline, still alive. So you can get a letter from her, you can get notes from her, the actress is still alive. Like, some of these characters are dead canonically on the show. Some of them aren't. Like Leslie hasn't died on canvas yet. She's still technically alive.
Right. I wonder if they will recognize that.
The funniest thing they could do, if it was me, I wish they hadn't said that Monica was sick and nobody could see her, because the funniest thing ever would be like if Monica and Leslie went to the same conference for doctoring and then something happened at the conference. But I think Leslie's been retired for a minute.
Yeah, I don't know.
But how funny would it be? But she's on the show. According to the show, she has a boyfriend and she has moved to Milan.
Who, Monica? Oh,
Leslie.
Oh, okay.
So if anything happens to her, it's long distance.
Right.
Maybe we just never mention it and let her live forever. I love Leslie.
They haven't had a tribute to Monica yet, right?
She's still alive on the show currently.
Still alive on the show.
Mm-hmm. Right. I don't know what they're going to do with that. Like I love the idea of a big giant tribute, but I also kind of like the idea of a recast. But I don't think they'll do it. I think they'll do a big special. I'm just worried that the big special about Monica will center on storylines that they've centered on 8,000 times instead of like the cool, funny things she's done over the years, because Monica is a great character.
Right.
But they always focus on her breast cancer storyline, and they kind of clip a little bit of her and Monica and Alan storyline, and the house falling on top of them when Alan tried to kill them. But like there's so much more to their storyline than that, and I kind of would like to see maybe some of the more niche stuff, just instead of just like, here's the highlights, boop boop boop, and she's gone.
Yeah.
Also make her leave the house to someone weird and random, because that's the Quartermain way.
Yeah, right. Jason, she loved him since she held him in her arms.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, she lied to you. She lied to you. She still hates that baby.
Well, thanks for joining us this week for our General Hospital, 82 podcast. Let us know did you watch an 82? What did you like? We know some people did not like the new Laura.
If you hated the new Laura, let us know. Is it because the storyline doesn't make any sense? Is that why you don't like her? Or did you not like her purely because you didn't want Ginny Francis to be replaced in any way?
Someone said that they felt like she was forced on us, and I don't really feel like they're forcing her on us.
Maybe not right now because she's in a separated storyline, but once they start integrating her into Port Charles, we may feel that way.
Maybe in that sense, but I don't see that. I just, right now she's doesn't do anything, so I get that. If you know, if that's the reason why you don't like her.
I mean, it's almost always the reason why you don't like a character is because of the storyline.
Right.
It's very rare that it's the actor. It can happen if they're really bad, but most of the time the actors are just doing their job, and they're doing a great job. And like, if you hate them and they're a villain, they're doing a great job.
Right.
But Laura is just not doing anything at the moment.
Go to check out our Patreon. We're doing a lot of stuff over there. Did you do any General Hospital stuff over there? I forget.
We do every week when we do General Hospital, we do like the wrap up, myself and Derek. We go behind the scenes and we talk about comings and goings and we come up with crazy speculation on what we think is going to happen. Like the nurses ball is coming up and we're talking about who we think should return in a big triumphant way at the end of the nurses ball. We also do clip of the week. So if you missed the week and you want to see the best moments of it, we show clip of the week every week.
And then, so you haven't done any watches over there for General yet?
I know we did one for, I think it was like when Brenda returned in, when was that? 2011, was it? You know, when she came back and she was at the church and she was trying to meet with Sonny.
Part of that, yes.
Yeah, so we watched that.
So there's General Hospital watches over there.
There's General Hospital stuff over there. Like we do talk a lot on the recaps and we do have guests and sometimes.
And we have Children, 90210, Dawson's Creek, all kinds of stuff on our Patreon. So join today.
I do want to on the Patreon. You should comment below if you want it. I want to make our illustrious host Tommy watch Casey the Alien with me. And I think that would really benefit from a live watch. He says he has it edited out to just the storyline of the crazy alien stuff. And that would be with Robin as a kid. So if you want to see that, comment below so Tommy can know that we need to put that on the schedule. I've been harassing him for months.
We'll get around to it for sure.
Or if you think of another storyline you would like to see, like a rewatch with friends, we can do that on the Patreon side of things. So let us know. Obviously, comment. Eric will get back to you, and then he'll tell me I need to get back to you, and I will.
Thanks for joining us this time, and peace out for now.
Bye.